On Tuesday, acting Northwest Premier Nono Maloyi delivered the State of the Province address in Mahikeng. The province faces a number of challenges, including a lack of drinkable water and a high unemployment rate. Let's unpack this with Bigboy Moagi, Rise Mzansi Northwest Provincial Convenor. Bigboy, I appreciate your time this afternoon. How would you describe the current state of governance in the Northwest Province, and what role do you envision the opposition playing in addressing these challenges highlighted in the State of the Province address?
Thank you very much. Greetings to you and the viewers of Newzroom Afrika. You think to describe this province, one has to look at the past in order to understand this present time where we are at and where Rise Mzansi intends to take it. So previous administrations in this province have all failed to implement good governance and fiscal maturity by engaging in cadre deployment and dipping their fingers in the fiscal jar. So what we have today in the province is a province that is sitting on the brink of collapse. It is a province that was described at one stage as the venue for malfeasance, with only 3 municipalities achieving a clean audit outcome and 7 being declared literally almost insolvent, and the rest of the 12 failing to achieve or being issued a disclaimer by the Auditor General. So this state of affairs points to a province that is mismanaged right from the top, with no compliance or regulatory conscience, and the results are evident in the municipalities failing to implement service delivery or even the bare minimum in terms of their mandate. The legislature has also failed to get a clean audit outcome. So if you look at it, you can easily say the fish is really rotten from the head in this province.
So what specific measures would you propose to improve service delivery and governance in the Northwest municipalities, considering the ongoing challenges mentioned in the address?
Firstly, we need to understand the root cause of the problem. There has been no intention or plan to appoint the right people into positions, qualified people and experienced people into the right jobs. Some municipalities have had to run with 2 municipal managers, with 2 mayors in some instances. And secondly, there has been management deficit, political interference as well, has always stifled qualified people who are in those jobs to be able to achieve what they set out to do because of so-called deployment committees, which are really jobs for pal scheme. So a Rise Mzansi government intends to firstly ensure the right candidate for the right job and to hold those appointed accountable. And all the municipalities that are in financial distress will immediately be placed under administration under the Rise Mzansi government until they can perform their duty to the citizens without any hindrances of corruption and mismanagement. So the first 100 days of Rise Mzansi government will be to stabilize service delivery in the province by making sure that we start with local government and get it to perform the way it should.
Bigboy, how important is accountability for you as a party, particularly if you do take office and you are running this municipality?
Well, we are very transparent. So we would be fully accountable to the public and disclose everything. Like we would have some management tools in place and monitoring tools in place to assess where we are, what we are doing, and those who are, of course, not performing, unfortunately, we will have to get rid of them and get the right people to come and do the job.
Now, one of the biggest challenges with new political parties is the lack of experience. So, well, you certainly make up for in enthusiasm and sound ideas. There's very little experience. Do you think that this will be an issue for you? And how do you intend to deal with those issues around the lack of experience if you do go into office?
Well, it definitely will not be an issue. We are not looking only at experience here. We are looking at the right qualifications, the right know-how. We are looking at the right commitment and, of course, the right experience here and there. I think we are at a time in our life where we actually need new answers, where we need new leaders who will do things differently, because the current government has tried and has failed dismally. And so we need people who are focused on making sure that they understand the issues on the ground and that they are willing to make sure that they take the province to where it's supposed to be. So at the moment, we definitely will be going for very experienced and knowledgeable people, in a sense that we have even put together a panel, a high-quality panel, in order to do our candidate selection. And we have been very strict in terms of the criteria used in the candidate selection. So when our lists do come out, you will notice that people who will represent Rice Mzansi will be well qualified and knowledgeable people.
Now, like most provinces, unemployment and economic stagnation are proving to be a thorn in the flesh of any party that's in office. How do you intend to address these issues? Because I'd imagine that the many questions that young people in the Northwest or anywhere else across the country where you hope to govern are asking you those questions. What are the solutions that you have to deal with unemployment and a stagnated economy?
Well, we launched our manifesto on the 20th of January. And in it, we covered various issues that we will deal with and tackle immediately. And one of those is definitely unemployment. And we have said in our manifesto that we will create 1 million job opportunities within the first 5 years of office for youth through training. And we will expand the youth employment service with private partners. And we will issue job seekers a grant for them to get access to opportunities and to simple things like being able to take a taxi to the interview or maybe internet connection for that matter. So
what is your stance on initiatives to address load shedding, such as the agreement with the Chinese National Import and Export Corporation? Do you agree with those? What are your plans to deal with issues around energy?
Well, we still have a lot of bottlenecks in the system at the moment, such as technical competencies and financial management, probably even sabotage here and there that has become a problem and a source for corruption somehow. So we would then plan to make sure that we address issues such as load shedding, first and foremost to fix Eskom, and then alongside that, ensure that we can include private power suppliers as well as community-based green technologies to power up South Africa. We will also look at small modular nuclear reactors that can be used to add more power to the grid, amongst others, and to reduce power on the grid and create new economic opportunities. We will also use the international climate change transition financial instruments to try and develop a local solar production and installation industry, helping households and small to medium-sized businesses to reduce their reliance on fossil fuels. And the majority of existing households and businesses will be powered in this way within the next 5 years.
Now, Bigboy, you mentioned that you would be looking to create 1 million jobs in your first 5 years in office. Now, that's almost half the number of jobs that I think the DA has suggested, or certainly the ANC or many other political parties. Any reason that you are aiming for 1 million and not 2 million or 2.5 million that some of the other political parties are going for?
Well, million is taken as just the minimum. But obviously it should be on an incremental basis every year, but starting at least with 1 million as a basis, because the level of unemployment now is extremely high in South Africa and also in the Northwest Province. And obviously we have to start somewhere.
Now, given the leadership crisis in the province, how do you plan to restore public trust and confidence in the provincial government if you are indeed elected? And I must also add, I'd imagine that many of the conversations that you're having with people in the Northwest are with the young people, the young electorate, many that have no desire to vote, because they're thinking as well, it doesn't matter whether we vote or not, but the result at the end of the day is the same. So what is the message that you've been sending to them, or have you been responding to those sort of questions?
Well, we have, together with the community or the public of South Africa, co-created a manifesto that places people and accountability at the center. I mean, right starting with the People's Convention that we did late last year in Johannesburg, where we got ideas from different sectors of society and from supporters of Rising Mzansi, up to the time when we then went and launched our manifesto early this year on the 20th of January. One of our plans is to ensure that public representatives are able to report and be held to account by the communities that they come from. I'm sure we all agree that South Africa needs capable leaders and people in all spheres of government and branches of the state, parliament, government, and the judiciary. And we are investing a lot in the youth as well to make sure that we send our youth to parliament and to legislatures across the country in order to represent us, unlike those recycled leaders that are in the current government that are very old enough to be grandparents and grandfathers and who go and sleep in parliament. We will be spending very capable and knowledgeable youth to go and represent us. And secondly, the reason even good representatives ultimately become bad is that our political system encourages unaccountability. So this is something that we will be dealing with. Because our current system places too much faith in the inherent goodness of political parties and politicians instead of in systems and in rules that will keep them in check and empower the people to do the same. And so if a person is unable to meet the mandate that was given to them by the public, such people should be removed.
Now, do you believe the infrastructure projects that were mentioned in the address are adequate to address the backlog? If not, what additional initiatives would you propose for infrastructure development in the Northwest?
Well, in the Northwest, those who have stayed in the Northwest for too long will know and remember that when the new government came in, colleges of education were closed, nursing colleges were closed, factories were closed. I can mention just a few. Kabani, we had factories there. There were factories in Mokwase. There were factories in Babelehi near Hammanskraal. All those were closed, and those used to create a lot of jobs for people of the Northwest and their families. So as soon as they were closed, then unemployment obviously went very high, and then it affected even the household incomes of a lot of people. So we need to go there, resuscitate those factories, and make sure that they are functional again, and that our people are able to put bread on the table.
Bigboy, I appreciate your time. Thanks so much for speaking to us on Newsfeed.